Hello and welcome to another Isolation Battle Report. Today I'm here at the headquarters of the Stud or Scrub podcast. I'm playing Dustin and his Genestealer cult using 9th edition rules as we know them. Dark Eldar versus Genestealer cult. Let's begin.
The Dark King.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Battle Report. Today it's a recap bat rep, 1500 points, single battalion, getting ready for 9th edition, playing on, of course, the new table size. We're going to be playing the 4 Pillars mission that was teased by Games Workshop using what we know from Frontline Gaming saying 45 points for primary, 45 points for secondaries, etc., etc., etc. I'm playing my Drukhari. It's a 1500 point single battalion detachment, which means that we'll have 12 command points to start. 2 Ravagers in the Cabal of the Blackheart detachment. A unit of 10 Cabalite Warriors with a Dark Lance. Another unit of 10 Cabalite Warriors with a Dark Lance. An Archon with a Venom Blade, Splinter Pistol. Archon Skari himself with a Husk Blade, Blast Pistol. And Drazar, the Master of Blades. Then I have 8 Incubi, 5 Cabalite Warriors with a Blaster, a Venom with only 1 cannon, 5 Shadowy Mandrakes, 1 Raider, 10 Shadowy Mandrakes, 2 more Raiders, so 3 Raiders in total. And last but not least, 10 Scourge with 4 Haywire Blasters. That is the real space raid for the Cabal of the Deadly Mist, coming out from isolation to play some Warhammer. Of course, masks are being used and social distancing is happening. So make sure you stay safe out there while the pandemic is still going on. And here we have 1500 points, single battalion of Genestealer cults. Only 15 models. No, that's a lie. The rest of them are in ambush. Dustin, take it away.
So I've got 3 groups of 5 Acolytes. They will have 2 Rocksaws in each squad. But I've also got a 10-man Rocksaw squad as well.
Ooh, 4 troops.
All of the 5 men actually have Flamers as well.
Nice.
I have a Magus, a Primus, a Kelomorph, a Close Combat Sanctus, an Alphys, which will be the Warlord, and he'll just have the Hive Cult trait, which you'll see why in a second as you move over to the right and see
1,
9,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, he's doing a wheelie. I think you talked about that guy on the podcast. 7, 8, 9. That's right. 9. Last Cannon Ridge Runners. I cannot wait for them to go up in points.
They better not. Not too much, just the same as everything else.
Yeah.
Also, because it's new and fun, I brought 2.5 Rock Grinders. The last one
Well, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's half. He's half a Rock Grinder.
He's half a Rock Grinder.
You're excited about shooting into combat with your tanks. They, of course, are equipped with Flamers.
Yes.
Because that's right. Now we are playing the 4 Pillars. Let's get down to deployment and all of that good stuff. Playing on the new 60 by 44 inches. As you can tell, it's not actually that much of a difference. It's like 2 inches off that side, 2 inches off that side, 6 inches off each side here and there. You know what? So far, I'm not seeing a huge difference. And here we are after deployment. I won the roll-off. I chose to be the attacker. So I am deploying first and going first. We decided this is, of course, a morphing of different rules. So it's kind of like custom hammer. Yeah, well, that's what we'll call it today. You'll notice elements from different game systems that we played. The aim of today is to roll some dice, have some fun, and see how many things we can kill on either side. Because that's literally what this is. We've been stuck in a hole for 80 plus days. Time to roll some dice.
I just want to kill some stuff.
That's right. So I've got Drazar, Archon Skari, and 8 Incubi in that Raider. Yep. Ravager, and the Archon with the secondary relic, Writ of the Living Muse. Archon Skari has a Jin Blade, and he has Hatred Eternal, so he wants to go in and blend some stuff. Raider with 10 Cavalites, Venom with 5 Cavalites, and then in Deep Strike, 5 Mandrakes, 10 Mandrakes, 10 Scourge. Other than that, blips.
That's my deployment.
That's all I can do. You put a couple of things in Deep Strike, though?
I put the Rocksaws and the Kelomorph in Deep Strike. The big Rocksaw squad and the Kelomorph in Deep Strike.
Right, because then, and of course you've got rock grinders and you've got other stuff, and I don't know what anything is. I can't even get close to them because that's how they work. It's like a denial range 9 inches out of don't get close to my deployment zone, which is great for my close combat unit. Fantastic.
Love it.
Okay, with that, let's move on to seize the initiative. We're going to keep that in, see if it works. Would you like to try and seize? Or would you...
I do want to seize.
You do?
We have this thing that we don't get to do anymore, and I really want to do it.
And on camera, using the broken stud dice.
Broken, that's right. You're about to see a stud.
Let's see what happens.
That's the opposite of a stud.
Yes, Australia, you just got a stud. Okay, with that, I would shake your hand, Dustin. Of course,
We can't do that.
we're not touching.
We're muffled too.
We're muffled. That's right. If you hear our voices being muffled, yes, we are wearing masks. So hashtag wear a mask, everybody. Be considerate of other people. Okay, we will return after Drukhari, turn 1. Okay, turn 1 of fun. They got out and they're doing an action. So it's like an engineer thing. So they can't shoot or charge. They're basically going to sit there on that objective. If they're still alive at the end of my next command phase, if they're still alive at the end of my next command phase, I'll get 1 point. And then you can get multiple points by having multiple objectives. This Archon stayed in the middle here, giving a 6-inch reroll bubble to basically both Ravagers, 3 Raiders, and the Venom. And I did move this Raider to basically be on top of that objective as well. And of course, now is the fun phase where the Genestealer cult gets the mechanic of blips. I say it over and over again. People are down on Genestealer cult. Me having to move, not knowing where any of your stuff is ridiculously powerful. Yeah. All I've done is move this way because he can move blips. So I want to make sure that if he moves blips back this way, I can still kind of draw a line of sight to them that way. Just essentially putting a lot of pressure. Of course, with the rock grinders at the front, like he's basically saying,
caution,
you gotta deal with these, which makes sense. So I'm excited about it. It'll be fun. I'm actually really happy he didn't seize on me, or all my tanks would have just died right at the start, right in the spot there. Okay, with that, we'll be back after the turn with a turn recap. Leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this, and let me know, how are you excited about 9th edition? What's the thing that is exciting you the most? So far, we're not really feeling the size of the board being any different, to be honest. Then again, we're playing 1,500 points. And
assuming about the price increase. Yeah,
the points increase will probably make it feel more like 1,700 points. So you'll probably be playing with like something similar to what we played with, plus another unit, essentially. Recap of turn 1. The Drukhari have ended the turn like this. So it's very important to sort of like pick what to shoot in good succession. I could have shot a bunch into the last cannons, but that's not really going to help me at the end of the day. Like, they're still going to kill a bunch of raiders. Things are going to die. I can't stop that. So the thing that I could focus on and actually kill with the rock grinders, I decided to focus on this rock grinder because I am pushing up this side here. I was able to shoot a Raider first and a Ravager, brought it down to 2 wounds. And this Ravager, I was like, focus fire on that rock grinder, did 1 wound because of the feel no pains. Great. So then I had to use this whole unit inside this Raider with the Lance. They actually killed it with the rifles, with the splinter rifles. Yeah. So that was great. But that meant that the squad inside had to disembark, which then meant I was able to shoot at them, like for an angle with that Raider. Then the Raider fire and faded up to get all the rifles within rapid fire range to then rapid fire the rest of them down. Didn't kill them still. Therefore, this Raider had to finish them off because he could see them through there. So with that, I did kill a Rock Grinder and a unit of Acolyte. So that's 2 less Rock Souls I have to worry about.
There's still a lot more to come.
There's still a lot more to come, but it does give me a good leg up. I have a feeling that Drazar, Argon Skari, the Incubi, unlike this year, there's gonna be a lot of pain happening next turn as we can see the last cannons arrayed for battle. Okay, what do you think will happen? I think I'm gonna lose some tanks. Okay, let's move on to turn 1 for the Genestealer cult. End of Genestealer cult movement phase. All the shooty last cannons stayed still. The Magus has decided to siphon power, so he's going to do what my Kabalites did to offset the point there. So he's going to do nothing for the turn just to get a point. The Acolytes got out of the Rock Grinders, moved up, with the Primus getting out. Primus marked that Ravager to get reroll ones to
wound. Yeah.
To wound.
But just for the guys up here, not like that.
Yeah, every within 6 inches here. And then, of course, the Jackal Alphas that's over there marked this Ravager. So I'm assuming he wants to kill this Ravager.
Nah.
You know, it's just me thinking outside the box
terrifying
here.
Or anything.
However, the maximum modifier of +1, -1 means that now they hit on 3s regardless. If I do -1 on here, he can use an additional +1 to then also hit on 3. So it like cancels each other out. You can only ever get +1, -1 on your modifiers. Very interesting. So you're going to change the math for a lot of things that people were stacking a lot of modifiers. And then, of course, this Sanctus used a new Psychic Awakening strat to get out of the transport, auto-advance 6 and move 12. That's 15 inches from where that transport was. And I feel like he wants to go assassinate my Dracon.
He's not built to kill characters. Just fill a couple shadow fields for me. I appreciate it.
I think my record is how many shadow fields against
I'm not going into that. Against me, I think it's 35.
Yeah, something like that, where Archon Skari was playing against Archon Sepsis, and I ended up rolling a lot of shadow field saves.
Yes. Sepsis and a solitaire.
That is true. That is true. Okay, so with that, we'll move on to shooting and assault phases. We'll come back at the end of the turn. Hold the line, Real Space Raiders. Hold the line. Holy moly, folks. You came for some action. We're giving you action. This is after turn 1.
It's a bloodbath.
It is an absolute bloodbath. Then again, we have played to make it a bloodbath, which has been super fun. However, Drazar died getting hit by a bunch of rock swords, which was nuts. I even rerolled a save and gave him -1 to hit, but those rock swords got 6 wounds through. He failed all his feel no pains, and he just died. So that's kind of how that works. So 6 damage through is what I meant to say. However, Archon Skari with his Jin Blade totally cut all of the Acolytes down.
Wasn't it close?
The Incubi lost 3 models to the explosion. No, they lost 2 models to the explosion. Then some shooting, put some wounds on the rest of them. And then there were 2 models left at the end of combat. And they ran away, sadly. I didn't want to spend the CP to keep them around. So the Incubi and Drazar are gone. Sorry, you haven't been able to see them in action. However,
I don't want to see them in action.
That's right. The Sanctus did charge in, tried to attack the Ravager, failed to kill the Ravager, and then my Venom Blade put 2 wounds on him.
2 wounds on him, yeah.
Yeah, so he's down to 2?
He's down to 2.
Cool, because they have 4 wounds left. Then this Raider died in close combat to Rock Swords as well, and this Venom survived with 4 wounds to these Rock Grinders coming in, doing D3 damage, 8 attacks, 7 attacks. Holy moly, these guys can hit in combat, which is cool. However, the Kabalite Warriors did kind of pile around to get rerolls, so I consolidated this way to get rerolls once to hit and wound, and I did kill 2 in combat, so not terrible. But with that, I was surprised the shooting didn't do as much as I thought, that it was mostly the combat that did most of the damage, which now we're getting stuck in. So we go into my command phase of turn 2. Let's take a look at the battlefield. And we are here at the end of Drukhari, turn 2. So I decided to sort of like spread out, move, and try and get as many people still in auras as I can while kind of playing to the objective. This has been so much fun after so long of not playing games. I had a game on Saturday and then a game today, and I'm like over the world excited. But stay safe out there, folks. So the Venom moved over this way to basically contest objective 4. I deep strike the 10 unit mandrakes here. Now they are sort of like using this as a block. So if he wants to bring all his guns to bear on them, he has to kind of maneuver that way or this way. And then they have a good control to go onto that objective turn 3, turn 4, etc. This Ravager that's busted up just fell back from the Sanctus, and so did the Archon. But now the Archon, and then the guys that win this Raider disembarked and got into cover, and then the Raider moved up to sort of create a block between Archon Skari and all the shooting. Jerk. Which will be very interesting. And then this Ravager also moved up. So what I've got is this Archon giving reroll 1s to hit and wound to that big 10-man unit, to that big unit, to that Raider, to that Ravager, and to that Ravager, and to himself. So, trying to keep everybody within the bubble.
You spent the CP so they can act normally.
Yes, I did spend the CP for Cruel Deception, so they fell back and they can act as normal. They can even charge and everything. And I moved them to get in range of this objective to make it harder for him to just clear out 1 unit. Now he has to clear out 2. And I did the action on them again to essentially get another point. I did get 5 points for holding an objective at the end of my command phase, essentially, or the command phase of my turn. And I got 1 because they basically siphoned power for a secondary. So I'm up to 6 points, but Dustin will also be up to 6 points because his little Magus is siphoning power this turn. So it's a tie game right now, which is what's happening. Now, I did bring the 5 unit of Mandrakes there, and I decided to siphon power with them and siphon power with them. So if he doesn't deal with 2 of them, now that'll kind of change the dynamic of the game. I'm forcing him to sort of deal with the siphoners. And then I brought 10 Scourge just as a screen so that the big 10-man Acolyte unit has to be a little bit more creative, aka that way, okay, to try and bring him in. Other than that, that's it. Let's move on to the shooting phase. My plan this turn is to try and kill both Rock Grinders and that guy and the Primus. That's kind of just to clear out this part of the board here. Yeah, I can't really deal with them. I just have to play to the mission and objectives. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see, because he can auto explode 1 to do wounds and stuff. So it'll be interesting. And I love the dynamic of getting extra command points every turn.
It's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. So that's been great. But we're moving on to turn 2. Let's see what happens. End of Dark Eldar Drukhari turn 2, and Archon Skari has pulled some shenanigans out of his butt. As the true kin tend to do. The dark kin. Okay, so my goal was to kill, as you heard, one of the Grok Grinders. I actually killed both of them because this Ravager did 10 damage, did 5 wounds with the disintegrator cannons, and after I did 1 wound to him with the blast pistol. So I killed both Rock Grinders. I vected the auto explosion because I wanted to keep that Ravager alive. If not, he probably would have killed that Ravager, and that was a risk I was not willing to take. But the Cavalry Warrior unit that came out here ended up charging 12 inches. So I was able to tag all 3 units, which does mean they get to shoot still, but at least I'm forcing him to potentially shoot with 1 or 2 units into that unit, which is good because it keeps so tagging still important, however different. It just means it's not an auto. Like if this happens in 8th, it's like an auto win for me because they literally, they can't do anything.
No, I don't need to worry about that as much. That's why I didn't bother screaming as much.
Now I was able to steal his objective away. So now he will not get the 5 points for holding an objective, which is awesome, which means now he's going to have to push harder to get the objectives. Archon Skari murdered the Primus after taking 2 damage, but passing 2 invulnerable saves. Yay.
Yeah, stupid Shadow Kill.
And then I did kill the Sanctus with the messed up Ravager. The Sanctus did try and reroll his save to stay alive, but failed. So that was a shame there. And this unit just shot that unit off the board, and the Haywire was pretty much useless. Put like 1 wound on a Rock Grinder, and the Mandrakes put like 2 wounds on the Rock Grinder. So nothing super crazy, but now we're moving on to turn 2 for the Genestealer cult. He has 10 Acolytes to come in. He has the Kelomorph to come in still. He has all of that still, and 2 command points, going up to 3 now because it is the command phase. Love that little mechanic there as well. So with that, we're moving into turn 2, bottom of turn 2. And I will say one thing, this game has moved crazy fast. We are beating the crap out of each other. And the smaller table size hasn't really come into play at all. It's just kept the action closer to the middle and just made us sort of like fight, there's less like, oh, you can't shoot me for 2 turns. It's more like, okay, let's get stuck in and play like chess. I take, you take, and that sort of thing. Okay. End of Genestealer Cult movement. Turn 2. Can you only imagine it's turn 2? Like
I can't.
It's crazy. Okay. What has happened here? We had so he went up to 3 CP. He spent 2 to lying in wait with the flamer bomb. So there's 10 flamers waiting to burn my mandrakes off into existence, into, my places.
That thing,
yeah. Yeah. And then, on that, he's decided not to move any of them. He's just going to blow them off the table. Better to shoot than not to shoot at all, in this case. And with that, we're moving, and he's decided to keep the Kelemorph in Deep Strike, because Kelemorph is eyeing at Archon Skari. And,
I don't know what he's eyeing.
Or a Ravager.
You don't know.
I don't know what he's eyeing. I just know that Kelemorphs are dangerous, and I hate them so much. Although now, because you can only take like 1 of each character in each detachment, Genestealer Cult lists, have to pay to bring a whole bunch of characters. So that's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic, which I'm curious to see how it pans out in the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. With that, let's move into the shooting phase and charge phase and all that good stuff. And we'll be back at the end of Genestealer Cult turn 2. End of turn 2 for the Genestealer Cult. As expected, the Kabalites just died. They got marked by the Jackal, and they all died just to the Stubbers from the first unit. Yep. So all of them died, which meant, one of them got smited. If not, 1 more would have lived, but you still had the last cannons. AKA, forcing 1 of the units to shoot at the squad wasn't terrible. Mm-hmm. Then the other 2 units were able to fire, and he did kill this Ravager and put 8 damage on this Ravager, spending his last command point to try and get reroll 1s to hit, +1 to hit, +1 to wound. So we got like all of the hits and then only like 5 wounds, which was crazy.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
These guys did flame the mandrakes from existence. And we did forget, he did get 1 point because he was siphoning power before my Kabalites got there. So he does get that point, but he couldn't start siphoning power again, which means he does have 1 victory point. This is going on to turn 3 now. The way that this is playing out, I'm assuming the game will be like an AOS, maybe 5 turns, because everything's going so quickly. It seems pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, we did kind of run at each other too.
That's true. So who knows? Maybe it's, who knows? Maybe it's still just random, like how many turns it is and stuff, but minimum 5 up to 7. Who knows? That'd be crazy. So as it stands right now, he's thinned out a lot of my stuff. He still has a lot of his shooting left. He's definitely going to be struggling in the objective holding part of the game. However, I love the fact that we're playing and rolling dice. So a lot of the stuff we're doing is just random and super fun. So
a bunch of stuff we've done, but we would
it's just
not
random.
Normally do.
We would not. We usually play really cagey, and both of us running into the middle
is not how we play.
It's not normally what we do, but I hope you folks are enjoying it from home. With that, at the end of the turn, I do hold 1. And I hold 2, but I don't hold more than he does. That's right. Which means I just get 10 points for that, and I get 1 more point for siphoning power. So I get 11 victory points. However, so I get another 11 victory points. Okay. So with that, we're moving into turn 3 for the Drukhari, Archon Skari. Let's see what you can do. And I do get 1 command point. So exciting. And we're here in 80 some days of Isolation Hammer. And we.
Stop rubbing that in.
Sorry, yes, it's been a long time. Okay. So after that long, we're having some fun. Turn 3, movement. The Scourge have all sort of moved up, and this way, basically, gonna be taking some pot shots at that unit over there. I do get a lot of points this turn, so I'm up to 17 victory points, but it's only turn 3, which is crazy. The Mandrakes have moved on to objective 4. This Venom, Raider, and Ravager sort of moved around, keeping within 6 inches of that Archon with rerolls. And then the Cabalite Warrior unit has embarked into that transport. The plan here is to suicide Archon Skari, maybe go try and do some damage to some of those vehicles, as well as killing his objective secured, and essentially just focusing to put pressure on all the objectives at the moment. He's going to be able to push out either the next turn or the turn after, and we'll see if that how that last couple of turns push really kind of changes the tide of the game here. And he still has that Kellamorph, which by himself can kill all of that. So, which is true, because Kellamorphs are ridiculous. Okay, on to turn 3, and Archon Skari is going gung-ho. He's got his blast pistol, going to shoot one guy, hopefully, and then charge in and potentially do some damage with his Jin Blade. End of Drukhari turn 3. I was successful in killing 8 of them with some shooting, which then led to the 2 running away in the morale phase. Then I shot and killed 1 here, but I did shoot and kill 1 and bring 1 down to 2 wounds. But then Archon Skari ran in and killed both of them with his Jin Hatred Eternal Blade, which was crazy.
A little crazy.
He did 6 wounds out of 7 attacks. It was nuts. And did a lot of damage with his suspect. Although the Jin Blade did finally do a wound to him. So he has 1 wound left, which is 1 smite away from getting murdered, or he smites that, it dies, and then they get to shoot him. So Archon Skari, let's see if he can survive this, but he did his job, which is good. With that, we're moving on to turn 3 for the Genestealer cult. We still have the Kellamorph to come in. He gets 1 command point back, because you did spend a CP somewhere.
Did I? I think I spent it somewhere. I don't know where.
Yeah, I believe. Oh, yeah, on the +1 to hit.
Oh, the stubbers.
Yeah, the stubbers. Okay, with that, we're coming back into turn 3. At the start of turn 3, he didn't get any points there because he had 1 model to my 1 model, which means that it's contested there. Okay, and then after that, in the movement phase, he's moved up this way, basically going to start focusing down, trying to get some points here. He stayed in combat with the Ravager, so he can shoot the Ravager, essentially. And then the Magus did move in advance to essentially all or nothing smite Archon Skari. Yep. That's kind of how that works. The Kellamorph did come down here. He can shoot either the Ravager or the Mandrakes and gives reroll 1s if he kills something, essentially.
Or Archon Skari, I really have to, but...
That's right, because he is it's 12 inches,
12
right?
Inches, yeah.
Yeah. So other than that, we're going to do the smite on camera, so you guys can see what happens. Does Archon Skari survive the psychic onslaught?
Absolutely not.
Oh, it's going to go off. Okay. There's nothing I can do about that. Okie dokie. 4, 2. And this is when I roll 2 6s.
No, you don't.
Hiya! No, he almost... he almost lived. But Archon Skari is down after his crazy, just trail of death and destruction, which was awesome. Okay, on to the next part of turn 3.
Start of turn 4 now, yeah.
End of turn 3 for the Genestealer cult. They moved up, shot their last cannons at the Raider, did 8 damage, it survived with 1 wound left, and then shot a lot into the Mandrakes together with the Kellamorph. The Mandrakes then got charged because he needed to get at least 2 models on there because I had 2 Mandrakes left to stop me from holding 2 and holding more, which was going to be a big deal. Would have been a 15-point primary turn for me next turn. So he pulled them in. However, the Mandrake is now sitting there. He passed his morale test after losing 6 of his friends. So he's good. Now he's fearless. He's just sitting there, but he doesn't get that objective point. And the Ravager did die to I think just the Stubbers again.
Just the Stubbers, yeah.
And of course, you saw what happened to Archon Skari. Then again, he hasn't failed a Shadowfield save against Dustin yet. I'll take that to the grave. Okay, so with that, we will go into turn 4 for the Drukhari. Now, I do get another intel point, so that's another point there, and I do get just 5 points for holding 1, because he just stopped me from holding that as well. So that's 6 more points, but we still have turn basically his 4 and then 5 and 6 potentially, maybe more. We'll probably play, a couple turns more, see what happens. But he still has lots of shooting, so let's see how this happens as we move on to the end of the game. Okay, as we move into turn 4 for the Drukhari, I decided to keep the Mandrake in combat here. I feel that if he survives the close combat attacks, which there's a likelihood of that happening, because he can automatically hit on 6s, which is actually a really good buff for vehicles against Mandrakes. Normally they just couldn't get hit, but now they can. But if he survives, that means that the Ridge Runners have to shoot him in the shooting phase, which would actually be great to force him to shoot that unit, which is good. The Scourge have moved up to take that objective and then be able to shoot a couple of Haywires into there. And then they've moved up to essentially just target some stuff on here, as well as start contesting that objective over there, just to keep the pressure on. As I said, when I play Dark Eldar, everything dies. The whole point is, where does it die? That's important. Okay, other than that, let's move on to the shooting phase. I love it. I hope this Mandrake lives the whole game. I think that's my new goal. If he survives the whole game. I doubt it if he gets shot, but then again, we'll see what happens. And we're here at the end of Drukhari turn 4. Wow, what a nail biter it's been so far. The Mandrake did end up dying, failing 1 save out of the 2 because he got 2 hits and 2 wounds, which was great.
Because always hit on 6s.
Always hit on 6s. Big deal in little scenarios like this, which, would have meant that. Yeah. And so he's going to be able to act with them normally next turn, and he get that. This is going to be big. The Scourge did move up. Together with the Scourge and some other shooting, I was able to kill 1 more of the Ridge Runners. And then the Venom did charge in, so he has to shoot the Venom with the Ridge Runner next turn. Meanwhile, the Archon charged into the Magos, and he survived with 1 wound. Because Dustin used his last command point to re-roll the wound roll to keep the psychic powers alive.
5-up re-roll.
Yes, very, very worth it. We both were cheered for the little Magos as he stayed alive. But with that, we're moving into Genestealer Cult turn 4. Now, this is a big one because he has 2 objectives now, so I'll give him 10 points, which is big. It's a good, because my aim was to kill him and, contest that, but that's not going to happen. So that's a big swing for points, which is great. So 10 more points for the Genestealer Cult as we move into turn 4 of the game. So with that, let's see what happens. End of turn 4 sees the Ridge. Well, actually, first and foremost, the Smite did kill the Archon, sadly, but that happened. It was close. I was hoping he'd explode himself, but that didn't happen. Then the Kelemorph shot everything at the Raider, didn't do a single wound.
He hit 12 times.
So the Raider lived. Great. So he had 1 wound left. This guy actually got a really good last cannon shot on and rerolled the damage 1 into damage 5, blew the Venom up. So the Venom died. Then tried to charge into the Cavalry Warriors, who the Raider died from the other last cannons into the Raider, killed 4 in the explosion as they got out. And then the other shots in here, because I've made saves like a boss, and only 2 died, which was crazy good, which gives me those points. So I do get 10 points plus 1. So I'll get another 11 points for primary there. For the mission, which would be good. I kind of like that. It forces you to actually play to the mission for the whole game, which is really cool. And now we're moving on to turn 5. I am fearless. So they're basically probably just going to run up and stop him from getting that objective. And then I'm going to try to kill at least 1 Ridge Runner over there while probably hunkering down on these 2 objectives. Okay, that's all I got. So let's dive into turn 5. end of turn 5 recap.
Your turn 5.
My turn 5, yeah. End of Dark Eldar turn 5. They are once again engineering or sucking up the points from this objective. I was able to get in there, kill the Magus in charging. However, the Haywire and all the shooting failed to kill that one Ridge Runner. Has 1 wood left.
He's alive!
Because that Feel No Pain came in clutch, which is great. I still have 5 Cavalry Warriors, but I do stop him from scoring that objective, which is good. So he does get the 5 points for this objective over here. Okay, other than that, we're moving into turn 5 for the Genestealer cult. Okay, let's see what happens. This has been really fun. Back and forth. I can see how the secondaries would really change, because if you can pick the right secondaries based on what you can do, you could actually make sure you can offset. Like in this mission, my army did better at the primary mission, because I was able to kind of control more of the board. However, I feel like with some secondaries, like, I don't know, killing tank, we don't know what the secondaries are, but I feel like that's where the balancing factor is going to be. Because if you're not good at the primary, you can stack up on secondaries that are good for you and really focus on them to offset the primary. And then at the end of the game, kind of push into the primary points to try and like switch the game around. But it's been really fun. And also the small table hasn't mattered whatsoever.
Yeah,
it has been fantastic. Okay. So with that, let's move on to Genestealer Cult. Turn 5. End of the Genestealer cult movement phase. 2 of them were out of range of the Scourge, so he moved 2 of them up, 1 stayed still holding objective number 4. The Scourge are now in range of all the Ridge Runners. The Kellamorph and the Jackal Alphas are still in close combat with the Cavalry Warriors. And that's the extent of the turn 5 movement phase. It's been an absolute bloodbath. It feels like a very fast-paced, fast-moving game, which is a lot of fun. This is, of course, we're doing a lot of stuff through speculation. There's a lot more mission parameters, but the aim of today was just to roll dice, have some fun. I hope you folks have been entertained by a couple of random stuff that's happened so far, like Archon Skari going on a complete rampage, and the Magos not dying, and
not dying, killing both the Archons, actually.
He did kill both the Archons with smites, with mind bullets.
Kingslayer Magus.
I think Dustin has finally figured out that instead of making me roll imball saves,
well, I've given up on that a long time ago. You don't fail them against me, so I just won't make you roll them.
So now he just says, you know what? Mind bullets. Okay, on to the shooting, and then we'll come back after the turn. And that is the turn. So turn 5. The Scourge survived. I spent my this command point I had to give them strike from the shadows. So +2 to their cover saves, making their armor 2+ armor save because they were all in cover, which meant there was a lot of guns, even with +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and last cannons because I rolled a lot of 5+ saves. So 3 of them survived, which was all I needed, because that basically gives me another 10 points. In my turn, +1, that's another 11, which means that Dustin can't really come back in terms of points. We're going to call it there, because that's it. It's game. Other than that, I would shake Dustin's hand on camera, but it's a social distancing.
No, haven't you seen Demolition Man?
Oh,
there you go.
Sure. I have seen it. I love that movie. I just don't remember the little things about it. Because I remember watching it in Spanish, because it was all dubbed. That's right. I do remember that part. I also remember the foam car. When he crashes, the car, it's like foam. Okay, well, thanks a lot for tuning in. Dustin, any thoughts about the game?
I like how 9th edition is looking. The table size, it's fine. Like, it doesn't feel that much different. We also went out of our normal play style when we play each other, because we just kind of ran at each other, and this smaller map definitely helped with that.
Yep.
But no, it was a lot of fun. I like the idea that we can actually shoot in the combat with their vehicles now.
That actually made it that you didn't auto lose when I tagged.
Well, yeah, that's why I didn't have to worry about screening with them. It's kind of nice. You can charge. It kind of forced me to fire at that thing. So tagging is still important.
It's just that the tactic has changed.
Yeah.
Instead of just stopping it and being useless, it means you kind of force your opponent's hand into shooting at what you want them to shoot at. But things are going to die the same as in 8th edition. Things die super fast. The mission is still very important. Very interesting to see how the other secondaries or the full list of secondaries pans out, so that then you can kind of tailor and mix and match like your different secondaries.
We didn't use any secondaries.
No, the only secondary used was the intel points, essentially, like siphoning, which is a secondary specific for this mission, which is, what happens. Okay, with that, I think we're going to call it a day. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Huge shout out to everybody who supports the channel on Patreon. Check the links down below for more stuff. And of course, this has been Dustin from the Stutter Scrub. Check him out.
Thunder Scrub.
This is Greenleaf Terrain has done the terrain here. This is a cool mat by Table War. And that's that. I'm Skari, your grateful host. Signing off until next time. Skari out.